Yep, that's accurate.
That's fantastic.
Okay.
Oh, man.
All right, I fixed it. So,
Yay!
so yeah, I don't know if we want to.
I'm glad we go on. I'm glad we go on early, and on YouTube so that we can get these things ironed out.
Yep, it's working.
Yeah. All right. Hey, YouTube. Sorry about that.
YouTube missed our entire Shang-Chi
Review.
review. Sorry about that. It was good. We gave it a 35 on the show meter. You should go see it.
Yeah. I probably won't edit this out of the podcast either. So those of you listening, you'll get that. You'll get this as well.
All right. Well, if that's the case, then let's just go ahead and get on with the motherfucking show here. We're here to talk about Platoon. So if this is your first time joining us and you made it through all that, good. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to tackle the American Film Institute's top 100 films of all time. And look, we're not film students. We're not smart people. We're just trying to tackle this from the standpoint of, are these movies actually good? Are they as entertaining as they should be?
Yeah.
From the everyman's point of view.
Yep. So
Exactly.
we created a patent pending rating system called the Shitometer.
Tell them about it, Dave.
So the name of the game is the less the score is, the better. And so, we've gone through this whole thing and we've, it's 1 through 100. We've gone through now, this is our 86th, this is the 86th movie. This is our, what number is that? 15th? It's our 15th movie we reviewed so far.
Yep.
So far, I'm not going to go over all of them, just to give you a little idea. Right now, first place, we got tied with The Sixth Sense and Pulp Fiction at 15.7 each.
What's the worst movie, Dave?
Oh, that's Bringing Up Baby, and it's by a fucking mile. Like 87.7. On our review scale, that is near like legendary shit status.
Yeah. Like think back in your lifetime of all the worst diarrhea shit you've ever had. But that's basically, it's knocking on the door.
But not the diarrhea shit that you took on the toilet. Like the diarrhea shit where you didn't make it to the toilet.
It's that concert you went to and you walked into the porta can, or the shit pile was actually above the toilet seat.
But you had to go so bad that you had to just fucking sit down onto that and go anyway.
All right. So, hey, if you're still here now, even better for you. Good for you. Jason, hit us with the recap of the movie, and then I'll give a few stats, and we'll get into this thing.
All right, Platoon.
So unprofessional.
The 1986 war drama that follows new recruit Chris Taylor, the wide-eyed, idealistic fresh meat right off the chopper, to hardened, broken veteran, surrounded by, now looking back, star-studded cast of characters spanning just about every demographic. Platoon follows the harsh realities of war and focuses mostly on the platoon and the stress put upon the men in the war, and it becomes divisive. Not only by the war standard of being divisive, but eventually leads to the division within the ranks between Team Barnes and Elias, culminating in a major NVA assault in which the remaining members are surrounded and must survive the onslaught.
What does WWE stand for?
Yes.
What?
No, Elias.
Walk with Elias.
Yeah.
Slightly different.
Yeah. Oh man, that was cringy. Can you take that out of the pod?
No, I won't. But
okay.
Guys,
Well,
go ahead.
Oh, okay. Platoon. So it came out in 1986. This movie was made for a budget of $6 million, so not too bad. This movie actually grossed $139 million, so this thing was very successful.
Crazy.
Good Lord.
How successful, you ask? Well, this movie was nominated for 8 Oscars. This movie won 4 of those Oscars. It won the Oscar for Best Editing, for Best Sound. Oliver Stone won the Oscar for Best Director, and it ultimately won Best Picture. The other 4 that it was nominated for, Dave. This is your jam here. Best cinematography. It lost to a movie called The Mission. Best writing lost to a movie called Hannah and Her Sisters. And you had Tom Berenger and Willem Dafoe for Best Supporting Actor. They middled each other out here, and they lost to Michael Caine, who won for Hannah and Her Sisters.
I've never even heard of that movie. Is that movie even on our list?
It is not. It is definitely not on our list.
One
thing I like to point out about Oliver Stone. So Oliver Stone was both the writer and the director of this movie. He's directed quite a few movies. We've probably seen some of those. Any Given Sunday, Natural Born Killers. One movie I didn't realize he directed until I looked at his filmography. Conan the Barbarian.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and an Oscar winner. I mean, obviously he directed that well before he got this Oscar, but still.
I mean, he directed the better Conan movie, so that's good.
Hey guys, listen, we've completed another podcast. It's been great. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. That is definitely not the better Conan movie. But hey, you know what? What are just general thoughts here about Platoon?
Gritty film.
Yeah, the first thing I texted you guys after I had finished it was like, if I had to describe it in one word, it would be either gritty or raw, and not from a like filmmaking standpoint, but just like the overall tone of the movie. It just like it is like it's just like a very concentrated form of how it must feel like when you're in that situation, right? Like there is no happy times whatsoever here. Yeah.
And the guy who directed it, Oliver Stone, also wrote the movie, and he was in Vietnam. This based off of his experience. So I don't think this is necessarily like a word for word experience that he had, but based off things that he saw while he was there. Which I think, I mean, obviously, it just adds to the realism of the movie. I agree with you guys. I think it's very gritty. I found myself having a hard time watching the movie.
Yes.
Specifically
certain scenes.
Yeah, and I was thinking to myself, well, let me say this. I have a friend of mine that has been in the military for quite a long time, and I was just kind of asking him about the movie in passing, and he said it's a good movie. He'll never watch it again because he just doesn't want to see like that much death and stuff like that laying around. And his dad was actually in Vietnam, and he said it's he was making a funny story about how he can barely walk today and how he's scared of like a cockroach running across the street. But when he was on, one of the islands out there, he's just stepping over dead guys and just, going about his business and not even reacting to it. So like the stuff that's depicted in this movie, obviously, just based on some things that I've heard from people, very real.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had Amanda watch Band of Brothers recently. I rewatched it, and she watched it with me. And I've been listening to I've been watching the Band of Brothers, or listening to the Band of Brothers podcast that's out there. That's actually produced by HBO, and it has like Tom Hanks, Ron Livingston, like a lot of the people that are in the show. It's a really good podcast if you haven't listened to it.
When did that start?
Like last week.
Okay, because I haven't listened to the first episode yet.
Yeah, it's super fresh. They're coming out once a week for the 20th anniversary of it.
Cool. Can't believe it's been
20. Anyway, just the comparison I was thinking in my head is like I feel like Band of Brothers paints a very romantic picture of war, right? And it's a different war. It's World War II. So I would say
it's two very different wars.
Yeah, very, very different styles. I was going to say, I feel like World War II is like very cosmopolitan.
Well,
compared to Vietnam, which is very gritty and just brutal.
I'm gonna I want to but I want to reference something they talk about in the movie. Whereas World War II, it's a very us versus them. I'm going to use air quotes. Good guys versus bad guys.
Everybody knew why.
Well, they came and fucked with us.
Yeah,
everybody knew why they were there.
and whereas Vietnam, like, I'm not a historian, so I'm just gonna be really basic here. But like, there was quite a few people who weren't really sure why we were even there, what was the whole motivation, and a lot of it was just infighting and like, I would say that overall we were not really the good guys in that situation.
We inserted ourselves into that war.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, as we'll talk about, and that's documented. I mean, we did not do that country justice when we were there, or with any type of respect.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Jason?
Overall, I found it was difficult to watch. I couldn't finish watching it in my first sitting. I had to kind of come back to it. And I did. I got a chance to rewatch about the first 30 minutes today, but I haven't gotten a full chance to watch the whole.
What about you, Jason?
To rewatch. Sorry, I didn't get a chance to rewatch the whole movie. I saw myself flash off there.
Oh, okay.
No, it's a gritty film. I'm not going to just like I said. I think we're all kind of in agreement. The way the movie plays out, it is difficult to watch in certain spots. It is not, and we'll get into it when we do our Shitometer scores. But it is not the typical feel-good war movie, if that sounds right.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Are we ready to give some scores?
Yeah, y'all go.
Yeah, let's do it. Go ahead, Jason.
Okay, I'm going to give my little breakdown, and then I'm going to give my score. This is like I said, it's a gritty, dirty movie that does its best not to glorify war. Shows the pitfalls of power, drugs, the stress that can be incurred in wartime. Personally, I love war movies. I'm very patriotic when it comes to the military. I think we should all learn the lessons of what the true cost of freedom is. Now, having said that, I'm not a big fan of the Vietnam War, which is highly controversial even to this day. Would I recommend the movie? Absolutely. Is it for everyone? No. Most of the actors did a great job, all fully committed and gave believable, experienced performances. Unfortunately, my pure entertainment value is not high. It's hard to watch. The failures of men in wartime is hard to watch. Long way around it. My score is a flat 40.
All right, I'll go next. I think I'm gonna try not to echo everything that Jason said. But I mean, overall, is this an important film? Yes, I do think it's an important movie. It's a well acted movie. Some of these performances are like really, really good. And it's if you like it's very strange because even if you typically like war films, I think this movie could be an outlier where even somebody who's really big into war films may not always enjoy this movie, depending on the person, right? Because like we said before, I mean, there's some really uncomfortable scenes that I want to say have nothing to do with war, but they do, but they have nothing to do with the things that I think typically people watch war movies for, which is a lot of the combat and a lot of the heroism and the tactics. There's not much of that in this movie actually. Overall, I settled on a 38. I do recommend the film, but it's a tentative recommendation.
Yeah, see, I found myself the first time I watched Blade Runner, I didn't get it, right? And I felt like you guys liked the movie so much that I had to kind of keep watching it so that I could try to understand why you liked it. This movie's a little different for me. The first time I watched it, I had a hard time with it, and I don't know how I feel about it right now. I've thought about it constantly since I watched it for the first time, since I finished it. It's lived with me. I've done some research on it, and I know I need to rewatch the movie. For right now, I can't make it. I can't give any other score other than a 50. I would definitely recommend it to somebody for the sense of I think it's a good movie. I just need to live with it a little bit longer. This is probably a movie. The first time I think I have a movie where the score could change drastically one way or the other a year from now. I think most of those scores are evergreen and they're going to stay the way they are. I think this one certainly has the potential to change over time, but for me, it's going to be a 50 for now. I'm so undecided on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm right there with you. It's a lot of I'll tell you, and this is I'm not trying to go backwards or anything, but a lot of what makes my score a 38 is I'm taking a lot of consideration based on the awards that this movie won and how strong the acting is, but I kind of gave it some bonus points for that. But we'll get into more of it later. But overall, that brings our score to a 42.7, and that kind of feels right. I sometimes when we get our overall rating, I'm not overly happy with it, but I feel like a 42.7 for this film is probably right in line with what it should be. Yeah.
So we have a new category that we talked about very briefly last week, and we're going to make this an ongoing, or the last time we did the podcast for AFI, excuse me. We're going to make this an ongoing category here where it's going to come up early in the podcast where the question is, does this movie belong on the list? So it got a 42 on our overall shitometer. Does this movie belong?
I will say that I don't think that there are any other Vietnam movies that can truly depict some of the stuff that went over there better than Platoon. When we're talking about the AFI list and what it entails as far as making the list, as far as a important movie, I think this movie does belong on this list.
Yeah. I'm going to go a little further there than what you did, Jason. And first off, I agree. Yeah, I'll just say right out, it does belong on the list. And going with what you said, this movie, there's not another Vietnam movie that exists that that's big enough and popular enough that could kind of fill the shoes of this. I'm going to go further and say that I don't know that this movie would even be able to be made in this way today. As raw as this movie is, I mean, obviously somebody could make it. I'm assuming, right? But with big names, big actors, and everything, I don't know that this movie could get remade and be this impactful in today. Maybe I'll disagree with that, but I mean, there's just some scenes here that I don't know how that gets done in 2021.
It doesn't. It gets cut.
Or manipulated.
Or it happens on HBO.
Maybe.
Or the mountain crushes somebody's skull.
Yeah, but I mean, on the in a movie theater setting, I don't see it happening. So I mean, overall, yes, I think our score was not favorable, but yes, I think the movie 100% deserves to be on this list.
Yeah, I agree. I think it does belong. It does belong on the list, and we've certainly had some movies that we've talked about on here so far that don't. So, just because it's on the list, this is not a guaranteed yes every week. But this week, I agree. I think the importance and just what it brings to light about what these guys had to go through during Vietnam. I think it's too important to say it shouldn't be on the list.
Right. All
right. So, hey, favorite scenes. Let's hop into it here.
I'll go, and I'm gonna preface this by saying it's not a fun scene. There are none really in this movie, but
there are not.
I'm just gonna go. I usually bring up what I out of the three of us, I feel like I bring up most of the time the no-brainers, and you guys do more of the deep cuts. So I'm probably gonna continue that trend this week, and I'm just gonna go ahead and bring up the village scene. as just, it's not my favorite, but it's just the whole like section is so impactful. And this, for those listening, I'll just kind of go briefly. They arrive to this village. They're kind of looking for, I guess, supporters,
supporters, sympathizers,
and throughout this ordeal, I won't go through it all, but throughout this ordeal, we see kind of the breakdown of our lead character. He kind of loses his shit completely. You get this
talking about Sergeant Barnes.
No,
everybody loses their shit.
Oh, yeah, Taylor. Charlie Sheen does too. Yeah.
Taylor, yeah. But this is kind of where you really, this is the moment where you see. You see who everyone really is.
This is where this is the only song and dance routine that was in the movie.
Yeah, yes, that's terrible.
Oh man!
But I mean, so in this scene, briefly, you have Charlie Sheen's character Taylor being upset with this one-legged villager, and then that villager gets very shortly after like his brains bashed in.
But you got to put yourself like in this scene, man. So this is like high drama, right? And this guy is hiding in a hole in the ground. So Charlie Sheen doesn't know this guy Viet Cong. Is he just scared and hiding in the floor? And so and look, this guy has no idea what Charlie Sheen is saying, right? But Charlie Sheen is scared, and so he's yelling like a motherfucker at this guy. So he finally gets him up out of this hole.
Yeah, this is right after they just lost two of their guys to a booby-trapped pillbox or whatever.
Yeah. And, I mean, the scene...
And then he shoots at his feet and makes him dance like an old Western.
Yeah, and then he gets his brains bashed in. And then Barnes, I mean, this is really Barnes' true introduction. I mean, we already kind of knew he was probably not a good character up to this point, but, I mean, he straight up, just out of sheer annoyance, most of all... He shoots the village chief's wife. Just shoots her right in the head, and the gun fighting in this movie I feel like is incredibly realistic, or the gunplay, or however you want to word that, because there's not like this cartoonish like blood spray when he shoots her, right? It's just like it's very muted, which I feel like is more realistic, and it's very like. I don't know. It's very sudden, and it's very like it just caught me off guard, and it's very hard to watch. And then he grabs their daughter, and he's holding the gun to her head, and it's like super just insane.
So that was your favorite scene, huh, Dave?
No, it's just it's just like
it is the scene,
and that happens like halfway, like less than halfway through the movie, and it's like holy shit, like this is. Like, you don't see this type of stuff in World War II movies, or at least the more like all the mainstream ones. They don't typically go this far.
Dude, there's a lot of stuff that happens in that village that you have never seen in any other war movie. Taylor also breaks up. They're like raping these two girls. When we say girls, I mean these are girls. Yeah, these are 10, 11-year-old girls.
And they're just crying, and they're like, what's wrong with you, Taylor? And and it's like, what do you mean? They're human. Like, dude, that's just like the roughest shit. Please, somebody else go. I'm done talking about that scene.
Yeah, I'll go. So I had a few scenes on the rewatch today. I thought it was a really cool scene, just rewatching it. The scene where Charlie Sheen arrives in Vietnam and he's walking, fresh face, looking around, and he's seeing all these other guys walk around, kind of like zombies. So, like, all these guys have been wrecked and been there for a while. So I thought that was kind of a cool scene. I like there's a little comedic scene there in the middle where they're in this river or whatnot, and the guy starts to fill his canteen with the water, and the guy says, "Hey, man, don't drink that. You're going to get malaria." He says, "Yeah, I hope so."
Yeah, I hope so, yeah.
I like that scene. And then I think just the whole kind of end scene where they kind of get ambushed, and then, Chris Taylor gets revenge on Sergeant Barnes.
Yeah. I would say I'm pretty much like a prick There's the two scenes that I like the best are the ones where the bigger pricks actually get their comeuppance to some extent. You get like what you just said, where Taylor takes out Barnes. But the other scene that I really liked was where you have the professional ass kisser, Red.
Oh, at the end. You're talking about the end.
He's talking to the sergeant, and he's like, "Hey, man, I got this time. I was hoping, I'm going to go to Hawaii. You want to let me go for 3 days, And he's trying to get out of the situation that he knows is about to happen. And Barnes just looks at him. He's like, "Yeah, I'm not approving that shit." He's like, "Come on, man." I think the reason I like it so much is because Red sucks that dude's dick through the entire fucking movie. And when the one time he tries to cash in all of his ass kissing, and he just shuts him down. He's like, "Nah, man, I need you."
Like, "Nah, bro."
Red also gets fucked at the end of the movie, which I thought you were gonna bring up. Whenever the general or captain or whatever is like, "Hey, how are you doing? You doing good?" And he's like,
"Good.
Yeah, I'm good."
Now
he's like, "Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, you're gonna be in charge of second platoon." He's like, "Yes, sir."
Yeah, he's just not. Yeah, now he's stuck. He ain't going nowhere.
After he spent the night hiding in his fucking foxhole
behind
under a dead body.
Under
dead bodies. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, look, that doesn't sound like it's very fun in general. To be fair to him, like it doesn't sound like a good time. But yeah.
Sounds like a scene from Shang-Chi, the Mandarin.
When you get to a certain point with the character Red, everything that happens to him is justified.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Let's say favorite characters.
I gotta pick Elias. Guy was done wrong, man. He was done wrong.
Yeah, he was
by Barnes. He actually seemed to care about the new people. He cared about the situation. He called out Barnes in the village.
The dude did shit with no fear.
No.
Shit. He's like, I move faster on my own. Or when he's going through that fucking climbing through all the little levels.
Yeah,
dude, that shit was crazy, man.
That shit. He had no fear.
The military needed more people like Elias, and
he's the only one. He's the only one that stood up to what was happening in the village.
Yeah,
he was the only one that saw what the enemy was trying to do at the end, and offered to take a dangerous approach to outflank the flank. And then, he basically looks into the eyes of the person who kills him, and he just stands there, and he's like, and it's not until that last moment that he's like, "Wow, fuck you, dude."
And then he survives that. He survives that.
Yeah.
And only
gets
abandoned only to get gunned down at the very end. Like he sees the planes leaving.
Yeah. And we get the iconic scene.
I mean, dude, look. It's got to be Elias for me, so I got to give it to him.
All right. I'm going to go deep cut, only because I think this character was one of the few characters that kind of kept it real with everybody. And he wasn't too crazy one way or the other, and that's King, the guy who gets to take the chopper out before all this shit goes down and gets to go home. He gives a lot of sage advice throughout the entire movie.
Yeah, Keith David.
Yeah.
How'd you get the beans above the Franks?
Yeah. Fucking Mary's dad.
Yeah. And I don't know, man. I liked his character. I thought his character was well-grounded, kind of like I don't want to say dad, because he wasn't an old guy in this movie.
No.
But he was the guy that was giving out sound advice to seems like everybody. And even
I think he was, this is a conversation I have with people all the time where I'm retail old. I've been doing retail for 20 years. He was Vietnam old.
Yes. Yep. True story. So he was my favorite character.
Yeah, King's good. I like him.
Yeah. Hey, with all that great stuff said about Elias, I went with Barnes, man.
You went with Barnes?
I like the cut of his jib. That dude wasn't putting up with any bullshit. He was there to fuck shit up.
Wow.
So
we went with the villain.
You went with the racist murderer. All right, cool.
Yeah. You know what I don't understand is, so Tom Berenger already has scars on his face, just anyway.
And they added
goddamn. Man, they added so many scars. That dude looks so fucked up in this movie.
What'd they say? He'd been shot 7 times?
Yeah.
And still wasn't dead?
Yeah. He's not supposed to die in this war.
Yep. So yeah, what does that tell you? He's not supposed to die.
Yeah. He was look, he certainly had flaws, okay?
You think? That's an understatement.
He had a few flaws.
He was a terrible human. Okay, go ahead.
That's fair. He was a good soldier.
Yeah, he was. Look, he was. I mean, he basically said, "What's the line that you said earlier? War is a machine, or something like that."
Oh, the machine breaks down, we break down.
Yep. I mean, he had his priorities. Like, you give him the order, and he took the order. Now, that the one thing that he also did though was not listen to his whoever was above him.
The lieutenant.
Yeah, because that dude had no.
They all hated that fucking guy.
That dude was like, "Hey, when we're giving orders, in front of the men, it should be me saying it." Like, bitch,
He's like,
dude, you suck.
He gives him that long look, and he comes in close. He goes, "Yes, sir."
Yeah, LT.
And walks off.
LT. I mean, that dude is a bitch. Yeah. I mean,
so the lieutenant.
Yeah,
he's a bitch.
Well, because
so for the
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say even whenever Elias was trying to tell him dude, your boy Barnes is trash. I'm gonna I want to report this. I want to sign whatever. I'm gonna be a witness to this. And the lieutenant was just taking Barnes' side, without even questioning it. He's just one of Barnes' bitches too.
Hey, man,
Barnes was an alpha.
You don't keep your prize pony in the stables, bro.
Look, yeah.
You got to let Barnes run.
Yeah, you had 2 alphas, and the lieutenant was not one of them.
No. So for the Roy Batty Award for overacting, Charlie dance scene where he's just yelling uncontrollably for this fucking this one-legged Vietnamese guy to dance.
Yeah.
And appears to be shooting at the ground. I have some thoughts on the shooting and this stuff in this movie later on. But anyway, I have that scene. Dave disagreed with me though. Dave, I think he wants to call out Elias. I can't believe you'd want to talk about the iconic scene.
I mean, I want to call it out as well because that was the longest slow motion death scene, right up there next to what's his name in Lord of the Rings, where he gets 18 arrows to the chest.
Look, the only scene the only scene that rivals the Elias death scene is the scene in Tropic Thunder. Okay, that's it. Although hot take incoming, Tropic Thunder is a better movie. Just gonna point it out.
Yeah.
And does Tropic Thunder deserve to be on this list? It does. For being
it's the best comedy movie of all time.
I was literally about to say that. It is the best comedy movie of all time. And maybe we might have to do best comedy movie bracket to prove that.
Well, that would be the Stone Cold of the bracket. We might have to just do a
second best
Tropic Thunder just movie review.
Yeah.
Maybe a movie clash. Platoon
versus
Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder just beats it in every category.
It wins 10-0.
Yeah. Anyway, we digress.
Anyway.
Yeah. All right. Least favorite character.
Barnes. I picked Barnes.
No way.
I did.
He's the man.
Okay, so I wanted to not go with Barnes because he was the obvious main kind of I wouldn't say bad guy, but he's the bad guy. So yeah. I went with Bunny.
Yeah, Bunny's a good pick too.
But yeah, Bunny is the little devil on the shoulder. He's always every time something bad's about to happen, he's the one whispering in the ear of the guy to do it.
We should fucking do him, man. We should do them all.
We should do them all. I actually think Bunny might have been was probably crazier than Barnes. Barnes was calculated psychotic. But Bunny was just insane,
crazy.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, when
what's so funny?
When he says to I don't know if he's in the, I think it's with Junior, and he says, you know what? I like being here. I can do whatever I want. And Junior's looking at him, he's like, I can't believe I'm gonna be in there with you.
Yeah. Well, I can't believe I share the same foxhole.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's so funny though is because there's a lot of young actors in this movie, like we talked about earlier, right? Like Johnny Depp. This is a young Willem Dafoe. But Kevin Dillon plays Bunny, and the only other thing I've ever seen him in is Entourage, where he plays a washed-up old actor trying to kind of get back his old glory. And so it's so funny to see that first and now see this role. And just, you want to talk about the two most different types of roles that I've seen like two actors play. It was really interesting. It was hard for me to see him as Bunny because I just kept hearing fucking drama, which is his character's name in Entourage.
I think you brought this up. We probably brought this up whenever the sound wasn't working pre podcast, but this cast, this cast is like super all-star.
There's no way they could make this whatever inflation is from 1986. There's no way you could make this movie now for that budget. Not with this cast.
No. Even if the de-aging technology was free, and you all you had to do was pay what the going rate for each of these actors are. There's no way you're paying Johnny Depp to do basically a throwaway.
You couldn't pay role. Johnny Depp $6 million total.
No.
This movie.
He wouldn't do it for that.
No.
Yeah. I had Red as my least favorite character.
Red was he was right there. But since I went with him,
that guy sucks.
Yeah,
he does.
All right, aged poorly.
Oh God.
Look, I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna come in only from the standpoint of entertainment. Is the action in this movie sucks?
I'm going to agree with you to the extent of, but I want to save that for aged poorly.
We're there.
We are in aged poorly.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we're talking.
It's for me the sound effects of all the explosions, all of the bullets, all the shooting, everything that goes into the firefights in this movie. I thought the sound quality was. I know that it won an award or got nominated. Back in
it won for best sound, yeah.
Yeah, but now, no.
But I don't disagree with you. Just watching the way these guys are running around, shooting, it felt very I feel like today when you watch a military movie, it's much more. I presume it to be much more realistic, just the way they hold their weapons, how tactical they are. Now, this may have been the case because they had. The guy who was the captain for this movie is also he's also in Band of Brothers.
Yep.
He's the guy who's the liaison for this movie.
Yeah, they only had 1 month of prep.
Yeah. So, but I know they were given at least some direction on some realism, but man, just the shooting, when he was shooting at this dude for the dance scene,
dude, he shot him in the penis at least 20 times.
Bro, that is so cringy. That was hard to watch. So for me, I feel like the only thing that's really aged poorly from this movie is really just the action. There was so much better action in the same realm, right? Predator came out in 86, 87, right? Tell me the action, just the shooting in Predator doesn't look better than the shooting in Platoon.
I'll agree.
Now maybe it's more realistic in Platoon. I don't know, but it felt a lot better in Predator.
So my age poorly is. So I guess this would count as cinematography. I hate that I have to be the guy to bring this up, but I couldn't see fucking shit, and I know that's probably the intent. But dude, the night sequence, the main fight scene in the movie, right?
Yeah, when are you talking about especially the scene where Charlie Sheen and whoever he's in the box with.
Dude, like just when anytime they're looking in the dark and they're like, "Oh, you see that? No, I didn't. No, I didn't."
When the Viet Cong were coming by and they tripped their minds.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Like I can't see it. I can't see a fucking thing the whole time. And then you have these random flashes, like these red streaks and all this other stuff. And then you got lens flare because the camera's not equipped properly, or maybe that's the intention. I don't know. But dude, like that whole ending sequence, like I have no idea what the fuck is going on. And again, if that is the intent, great, mission accomplished, right?
Yeah. Maybe this movie is like Saint Anger the movie.
Yeah, there's
maybe it's made to be intentionally rough like that.
No. Because see, this movie is actually something I would recommend people, partake in. I don't recommend they listen. I don't recommend they partake in Saint Anger.
I agree with what Dave is saying. There's quite a few scenes where, especially in the last 15, 20 minute the main fight, there are times people are dying and I'm like, who was that? Oh, is that nope? Oh, I don't know who that was. And then it's just like I said, it's just it's hard to tell if it's like that on purpose or not. But yeah, I agree with Dave on that. But as far as what aged poorly, anytime you have child rape, it's just not going to have it's not going to bode well.
Sure.
No,
I'm with you on that.
I'm not even going to go into details, but I'm just going to leave it right there.
All right. Aged well. I had two things for aged well, and I've been dying to talk about one of these things. So let me hit this first thing. Okay. The authenticity of the movie. Dave, what the fuck are you eating over there? And like, why are you eating it like you've never eaten anything before in your entire life, dude? It's like you've been starving, going through the Sahara Desert. Anyway, the authenticity of the movie, I thought was really, really. Secondarily, look, I saw Tropic Thunder, and I've seen Tropic Thunder 100 times before I've ever seen this, and so now just getting to watch this movie and pick up all the little things that are from this movie that they duplicate or talk about in Tropic Thunder. That stuff was probably the biggest pop for me when you hear the line, if the machine breaks down, we break down. I was like, dude, that's fucking Osiris. Osiris says that.
Yeah.
So, and then like the scene with Willem Dafoe with the attic, like all that stuff. It was just really kind of cool to see all the stuff that influenced Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Josh, I'll just echo the authenticity. And I actually really like the score in the movie. I thought the score was really, really well done. Like the score made like the intense scenes even, like it took it up a notch, right? Which is always what you want the music to do. And so overall, I thought that aged really well, along with, like I said, the authenticity and stuff. Basically, anything in the daytime, it was good. I enjoyed it.
I agree with both of you guys. As far as age well, like just if you want, like I said, it's a very
Dave, is that a fruit roll up?
Yes, it is.
God,
Jesus Christ, Dave!
I'm sorry.
Doing a podcast,
it's actually a fruit by the foot.
Oh my God! Anyway. Yes, I agree with both of you guys. Whenever you have a movie that is not afraid to get down and dirty as far as the content to immerse you in realism, even if you don't want to see it, I think that speaks more to the realism of it. So I mean, I'm like I said, I'm right there with you guys as far as what ages well is the realism that it depicts. Thought it did a really good job on that.
Yeah, and just one other thing that we already referenced, but the cast. I mean, the cast just ages super well, man.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
except for Charlie Sheen, but
Tom Berenger, I don't think is aged well either.
Well, yeah, but I mean, just in general, like the achievements of all these people. I mean, even all the way down to some of the grunts in the movie, like Johnny Depp, the guy who plays, fucking Forrest Whitaker's in this shit, dude. Yeah. The guy who plays the fucking Candyman, Tony Todd. I mean, dude, there's all kinds of fucking good people in this movie. So, overall, I think the cast aged really well as well.
Yep.
So
Jason, do you have anything else under age well, or did you guys?
No, I didn't.
No.
All right, well.
And anytime Dale Dye is in a movie.
Yeah, that's the guy I was trying to think of, Dale Dye. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Money in the Bank.
Last question, man. Is this movie rewatchable?
Hell fucking no. I never want to see this movie again. Personally.
I would not say that this is completely 100% not rewatchable, but I've seen this movie 3 times since 1986, so it's going to be a while before I watch it again. But it's never going to be one of those. Oh, hey, look what's on. This falls into the category of, oh, you've never watched this? Oh, you want me to watch it with you? Okay.
But see, we need to clarify. Do we need to clarify what rewatchable is? Because see, I don't count it if you're the only way you're rewatching it is if somebody else is watching it who hasn't seen it, because then you're having to be incentivized to rewatch it.
Yeah. Right? I think it's got to be a self-driven rewatch.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Josh. Now that you guys are making me re-answer, let me think about this.
Well, I'm gonna say, I think the answer is no. I'm gonna rewatch this movie because it's just been one of those movies just kind of stayed with me for the last couple of days after I saw it, thinking about it a lot, and I just want to rewatch it just to try and understand a little bit more. But I just don't think this is something that's just in the normal rotation of watching movies, which sucks because I bought the movie on Amazon because it was $5 to buy it or $3 to rent it, so I just went ahead and bought it. So that kind of sucks, but I don't think it's a bad investment.
I say no just because I know that I'm never going to, like, if I'm going to pick a war movie, like if I'm in the mood to watch a war movie, this is not going to be one that I reach for, right?
No, I'm gonna watch Band of Brothers or something like that,
or Saving Private Ryan, and stop it, at a certain point in the movie and not watch it the rest of the way.
When we do that movie, which is on this list, let me just tell you right now who the least favorite character is. Corporal fucking Upham.
Yep.
And I will not be watching that scene. I don't think.
I think you know what I think we should do? I think we just rename the least favorite character award to the Corporal Upham Award right now.
All right, it's done. It's done.
All right, it's done. Okay, so is this rewatchable? Now that you brought that up, it makes me think of that scene now. Which is part of the problem with this movie, is that in Saving Private Ryan, there's 5-minute segment in which you just do not want to watch.
Yep.
In this movie, I would say there's about 30 minutes of that's hard to watch. And so I guess I would say that I do not plan to rewatch this anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, would you have rewatched it at all recently if we weren't doing pod?
No. I had seen this movie twice in its entirety since 1986 until I watched it earlier 3 or 4 hours ago, 5 hours ago.
Yeah.
And I had no desire to watch it. In fact, I really didn't want to rewatch it again. I was, but I was like, I'm gonna watch it so that I'm fresh on the podcast. But I actually didn't plan on. And I'll be honest, like this was. For me, I actually liked it better today than I had the first 2 times I'd seen it. Yeah. I don't know if that's just me being older and me being able to appreciate it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I still wouldn't sign up anytime soon to rewatch it again.
Well, that's good. It gives me a little bit of optimism for the next time I rewatch it. But otherwise, I guess I think we did it.
I think we did complete another podcast. Josh, what are we doing next week?
Yeah, so we just completed another chunk of 5 movies here on the AFI list. After we do the chunk of 5, that means we're going to host our 3rd annual Shitty Award.
Hell yeah!
So, man, 15 movies, and we started this because I've been dating every time we review these. First movie was January 17th of this year. And we are now, September 18th at the time of this recording. We 15 movies down. Overall, I feel pretty good. I mean, there's been some movies, I would say a decent amount of these movies I saw for the first time or for the first time in a really long time. And overall, I've been satisfied with this project so far. Very much. Yeah, no, it's gone better than I thought it would. For sure.
So far, so good.
So, all right, Wade, man. We'll see you next week, all suited and booted in our tuxedos.
Yes, I got mine at the cleaners.
All right.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Take it easy, everybody.
Live long and prosper.